Hey, everybody. You're listening to Area Code Batavia, a podcast about what it means to belong in Batavia, Illinois. I'm your host, Richard Clark. Today on the podcast, I spoke to Kathy Evangelista, the executive director of Batavia United Way. But before I get to that, here's an update on what's happening with the 630 this month. The 630 is Area Code Batavia's paid membership program for those who want to be a part of a group of Batavia Insiders. It's for those who want the inside scoop on how to best belong and help others belong in Batavia. Your membership will help support this podcast and our mission to create a stronger sense of belonging and community in Batavia, Illinois. This month for members, we have 2 installments of our bonus podcast, the Batavia Insider, including Kathy Evangelista's favorite things about Batavia and a special insider's guide on how to make the most of winter in Batavia, or at least how to survive winter. 630 members are also getting free perks from local businesses this month and free access to our upcoming Cozyfest live show on February 21st at Sturdy Shelter. You can find out more about how to join through the link in the show notes. It's not easy to make a difference. So often our attempts to make the world a better place are pushing against strong headwinds. There are cultural forces in the world and in our nation that simply make any attempt at good deeds a lot of times just seem fruitless. And that can lead to discouragement or burnout or worse, cynicism, that anything can be done at all. So when I had the chance to talk to Kathy, I mainly wanted to hear how she persists in carrying out the kind of work that in this moment seems to me to be designed to be an uphill battle. This conversation reminded me of the importance of local action and how making a difference in our community can be enough. I'm just one person, so my desire to change the world might be a bit overly ambitious, but I'm part of a community that can do a lot for a lot of people. And talking to Kathy, I was reminded that together, Batavia already has. Here's my conversation with Kathy Evangelista. We met because you asked me to MC the bat race, which I have such a complicated feeling about. I don't feel in my element when I'm doing that.
Fair. That's very fair.
I was happy to help and honored to be asked twice in a row, which was shocking to me.
We appreciate it.
It's such an interesting thing because I love United Way. I love what you guys are doing. The race is a cool thing. It's really cool to see everyone dressed up and excited. And then there's that thing where some people take it very seriously. Yes. And I'm like the face of it in that moment. And you have to like manage all of that. And also just like try and be good and interesting, I guess, and like accurate and say all the things I'm supposed to say. And 2 years in, I still have no idea what I'm doing.
I think you hide it very well. I think you do.
I don't believe that at all. But...
No, you do a great job. The race is a hard event because it's different every year. I mean, the bones of it are the same each year, but some things shift and it depends on, some years we have issues with the timing company and then sometimes they're there and available to help with those questions and sometimes they're busy working on other things and so they can't answer those questions. And so it's just managing, 700 people's expectations.
It's so interesting. I think the thing that stuck out to me when I was there both times was a person like me goes to that going, this is like a fun little thing. But then there's so many people that take it so seriously and it turns into this high stakes, high pressure thing. Did it start as like, oh, this will be fun, like a fun thing for people to show up at? And then did you have this realization of, oh, this is like high pressure?
I think it's high pressure for maybe 7 people.
Okay.
And of course,
that's a really good point. Yeah.
So out of the 700 or 750 people that were there and registered, it's super serious for a few because they may use those times to help qualify them for another race.
They're like serial marathoners that it's one of their data points, essentially.
Yes. And many runners who are serious runners, they're looking to get their, personal best at this race or whatever. And for the majority, it's a fun event that people are just, dressing up. We have a bunch of people that come every year, and they have a sleepover with all of their family at somebody's house who lives here in Batavia. We had somebody telling us at Packet Pickup that it's become an event. So they all come together. There's 12 of them or whatever, and they all come together. They have the night before, they sleep over, and
That's
they
cool.
Pizza party, whatever, watch Carb Up, carb load. And then they come to the event, and people are dressed up, and it's a really fun event. And it has grown significantly. I started kind of taking on the event while I was still a board member at Batavia United Way.
Yeah.
And so it's myself and Christina Murata and Pam Kent, and we had done a previous race over at Batavia Mothers Club, the Foxtrot.
Yeah.
We had all been previously race directors over there, different years, and so we thought it would be fun. So this race, I think, used to be like maybe 300, 400 runners.
Okay.
And then we took it on, and COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then we had to cancel it one year because of COVID. It was just a lot. And so it has grown significantly.
Since COVID.
Yes.
Is it, so it's under that 300, 400 range now? Is that?
Or we have 750.
Oh, it's okay. I thought the narrative was it went up and then COVID hit and we had to sort of start over, but no.
No,
okay.
I think we had a lot of people that came out after COVID because they were just ready to come out.
Yes.
Events were starting up again.
Totally.
And then this also piggybacks or, backs up to Main Street's Bat Fest. So it's the same day, and we work well with Main Street, and we kind of cross-promote each other.
Yeah.
So it's just a really fun day in general in Batavia.
Yeah.
So I think it grows because of that.
Are you ever going to be able to run in one, or do you have that aspiration?
Want to?
Are you a marathon person? No, me either.
Ridiculous because I've been involved in races since 2010. As far as being a race director or on the committee or something along those lines.
Yeah, the not runner.
And I don't run. I tried to, early on, I tried to fancy myself a runner, and I'm not. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I can organize it.
I had that meeting, that moment too, where I was like, I think I was doing Couch to 5K app or whatever. I was like, this is not fun. That's the bottom line. I'm not having any fun. This is just hard. I
have fun if it's if there's obstacles. I did the Warrior Dash a couple of times. That's fun.
Yes.
Although I don't like heights. So the first time I did it, I got stuck at the top of one of the obstacles and I couldn't get down because I was terrified.
Right.
Of, hurting myself, and I'm not the most graceful of people.
Yeah, I get that. So I want to start with kind of a weird question, because normally I ask people when you look around, what do you see? And tell people about this location, and you're just sort of housed in Homestead Covenant Living because that's where your office is.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask sort of more broadly about Batavia. So a lot of people, they step out of their door, they maybe go downtown, they go to Randall Road, and they see the things they're interested in, they see the things they're excited about. I'm curious about, from your perspective, you must see the town a little bit differently as someone who's working with a lot of nonprofits on really specific concrete needs in the area. When you step out of your door, when you go out in Batavia, what do you see?
I see a community that does look out for each other. Yeah. I see people who care. Whether or not I agree with what they care about, they care. So I see a community of people who are interested in who's next to them.
Yeah.
And wanting to know more.
Are there needs that you see around that we might not know about or be aware of or be looking for?
Absolutely. When I first came into this position, I've learned a lot about Batavia, and I've learned a lot about what the image of something is, or your perspective of something doesn't actually mean that's actually the case.
Totally. Yeah.
So I learned about ALICE, which stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained Employed Population.
Okay.
Those are the individuals who make more than the federal line of poverty, but not quite what it costs to live someplace.
Right.
So they're in that gap. I think most people assume Batavia's doing pretty fine. You know, we have roughly 7% that fall below that federal line of poverty, and then about 23%, I believe. So that's almost a third of our population that's struggling to make ends meet, and that's Batavia. And that surprised me. That number surprised me, and I think every time I share that bit of information, it surprises people.
Yeah. So that's 30% of people in Batavia are struggling essentially to make ends meet. And that is reflected in what ways?
Well, look at the numbers that we have at our Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry and Clothes Closet, how many people we have, the number of phone calls that I get for rent and utility assistance, the number of kids that we support through our preschool scholarships, because people can't afford to send their kids to preschool if they don't get in the lottery at our early childhood center at Alice Gustafson. Then you have to pay for preschool, and preschool is expensive. Right. And so you're either choosing to pay your car payment or send your kid to preschool, right? So the numbers there, like we see this, and so that's where a lot of our programs here at Batavia United Way have come from, is the needs that we're identifying based on the calls that we get here in the office.
You said something really interesting. I don't remember the exact way you said it, but it aligned with something I've been thinking about as I've been thinking about this conversation. I think you said something about like you present an image and then there's like this different image. I was thinking of like branding. We think of like Batavia as like the city of energy and the windmill city. And like every city does this. You want to be like, we're cool. It's fun. It's all great. And then every city, every town has this reality piece where it's more complicated and more nuanced. It's not quite a dichotomy, but this nuance to what we believe and want to believe about Batavia. And then what is the reality, which is 3 out of every 10 of us are really struggling to live here. And maybe we can't stay here if someone doesn't help us out.
Yes. And I will say that that's not uniquely Batavia, those numbers, because Geneva's numbers are similar. St. Charles's numbers are similar. Aurora's numbers are way skewed differently. I think they're closer to like 48%.
Wow.
That falls in that Alice range. It is not uniquely Batavia in recognizing that piece. I mean, that's the whole state of Illinois.
Yes.
It's about a third.
And a lot of America.
And a lot of America.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. When did you move to Batavia?
I moved to Batavia in 2005.
Okay. Was that when you got this role, or that was way before?
Way before.
Okay. Why did you move here?
We had just had a baby.
Yeah.
We were living in Naperville I think we lived in Naperville for about 5 years after we both got out of college and got married in Naperville. And then we moved here to Batavia because we wanted to be close to my mom because she was going to babysit.
Okay, yeah, smart.
And she still lives in the house that I grew up in Aurora. So we were kind of limited in space. And I knew Batavia from growing up in the area, and I liked it. I liked that it still felt like home, where some of maybe the further out suburbs, I didn't feel like I belonged there.
Right. When was the first time you felt like you belonged in Batavia?
When I started making connections in my neighborhood. And then I think probably, I never felt like I didn't belong in Batavia, but I felt connected in a way that I hadn't before when I joined Batavia Mothers Club when my older son Joey was 5, and made a lot of connections.
Okay.
That's how I met Jenna, who I was telling you about earlier, Jen Barron, and so many different people who I'm still very good friends with today.
I feel like so many of our guests have been a part of that club, and one day I'll cover them. They're on the list. But that's interesting. It seems like a primary way to get to know people.
Yes.
And makes me stop and go, where's the Fathers Club? Not that I would necessarily join, but it does. What's the equivalent of that? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's an interesting question.
Yeah, I liked the idea, and this came to fruition as my kids got older, because early on, you're connected to the people who are in your neighborhood, who are in your general vicinity. Yeah. As my kids got older, and maybe were riding their bikes all the way around Batavia, and I wasn't around them, there was always somebody who I knew or who knew me from Mother's Club or wherever that would keep me in the loop on what they were doing.
Watch out for them. Yeah, totally.
Yes. So that it has that feeling of it takes a village.
That's good. I like that. So you said you just started connecting with neighbors, and that's a big yada yada for a lot of people, myself included. So what was the steps that you took that helped you connect with your neighbors in that way?
The house that we moved into directly next to us, they don't live there anymore, and I miss them terribly. They were just very friendly. Yeah. And they reached out, and we came from an area, we lived in Naperville for 5 years, but maybe in our last year that we lived there, we started to get to know our direct next door neighbors. Yeah. So it felt very separate, but it was it was like a starter home. It was a neighborhood. But here, right away, I got to know the people across the street, and people
it sounds like they reached out to you.
They reached out to us.
That's nice.
To start with, yes.
They just came over and said hi?
Yeah. I had a neighbor down the street I don't know, 2 days after we moved in, it was her and her daughter came over and brought us cookies. I'm like, where did I move?
Yes. Bringing them cookies is like the thing that I know I should do more. You can't go wrong with it.
Right.
So you moved here. Mm-hmm. When did you decide to work with Batavia United Way?
That opportunity actually kind of fell into my lap. As I told you before, I am a speech language pathologist by trade. And so that's what I have been doing since I graduated college. I wanted to stay connected, and as my kids got older, I wasn't as actively involved in the Mothers Club and Batavia Mothers Club anymore. So I joined other boards. And so I actually, through my connections through Batavia Mothers Club, how many times am I going to say that? I joined the board here at Batavia United Way. So I was actually on the board for 3 years before I came into this role. Okay. And we had gone through a couple of different executive directors. At that point in time, I was teaching at Elmhurst University in my field. And that was after COVID. And I was just like, my oldest was getting ready to graduate high school and go to college. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I think I need a little bit of a change. I need to take a break. He was planning on going to Florida right away.
Okay.
And so I thought, I can't work in a university because if I want to pick up and go see him in Florida, I want to be able to do that. Yeah. So I just wanted to take a step back, take a break. And at that point in time, I finished teaching my last class in May. And then in September, the position opened up here. And I thought I would step in and just be the interim executive director until we found somebody permanently. And I kept saying we because I was still on the board at that time. And then I found out I absolutely loved it. It just felt right. It was a good fit for where I was in my life and what my goals were and the space that I needed. And so I stayed. Yeah.
What did you love about it?
I love that I know that I'm making the things that we do, we're making a difference for people that live here in Batavia. So it is very direct. Yeah. All the stuff that we do, all the money that we raise, all the programs that we do help people that live here, right here in Batavia.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I also volunteer over at the food pantry and clothes closet and have for longer than I've been involved with United Way. And so I know the person that we're funding a scholarship for preschool is somebody I see over here and I see them over here and I know them, and whether or not they know that it's my group that's providing the scholarship for them. Yeah. I see that little one who comes in with them to the food pantry or
like this person who's been impacted by a bunch of different things.
Yes.
This is probably a good moment to tell people what United Way does.
Okay, that's a good idea.
For some reason, I was doing research and I realized, the name makes sense. Now I understand what the name means, where essentially it seemed, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to try and explain this for people so that people can understand. You're sort of traffic control for a lot of different nonprofits and organizations in the area, right? So you're sort of facilitating collaboration between all of those organizations.
That's definitely one piece of what we do. Yeah. So historically, United Way globally has been the main fundraiser for employee giving. So when you worked at, AT&T or one of these large corporations, you could do donations through payroll deduction. Okay. And United Way was the primary one that collected all of those donations and then would grant out all of those donations to local nonprofits. So even though you have Apple, who has offices all across the U.S. or all across the globe, it's one point of donation, and then it goes to if you live in 60510 here in Batavia, then the donations, even though your office might be in Chicago, your donations come to 60510.
Got it, yeah.
And then we decide, based on our grants making criteria, where that money goes. Okay. What are the needs in our community, and then we fund those needs. So all of the money that we raise here, in addition to employee giving campaigns, the fundraisers that we do, the just direct donations that we get, all of those funds go to our local organizations who provide supports for Batavia residents. Right. And then we also identify where those gaps are, where there's a need, and then we figure out a program, whether we work with another nonprofit or we just fill that need ourselves to meet the needs of our residents here in Batavia.
Yeah, that's really cool because you're accomplishing two things. You're keeping redundancies from happening, which I think when I was first getting to know the nonprofit community in the town, I was like, these guys got to be stepping on each other's toes. That's got to be something that's happening. And it seems like whether that's happening or not, I don't know. But Batavia United Way exists to kind of keep that from happening, from saying, hey, they've got this covered. We need help over here. So maybe, or you guys can work together on this in this way, that kind of thing, which the more I pay attention, the more I see that happening in all sorts of different ways.
Yes, we do a lot on the back end where we're trying to connect people like, oh, I know there's a need over here and I know you guys are doing this. You guys should connect.
Right.
And then, we take a step out of it.
Right.
We are not trying to
dictate,
control or dictate what's happening, but we are trying to figure out what are the needs of our community based on the phone calls that we get here to our office, but we also look at the countywide data. We have a 211 is a number you call when you don't know who to call.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That is one of the United Way initiatives, I guess you could say. It's a nationwide number that people can call.
Yeah.
And it's just a resource hotline. We started it here in Batavia, 211. It started here in Kane County, I should say, not just Batavia. But Batavia United Way, the person, Melinda, who was in charge at that point in time, she brought it here to Kane County, and Batavia managed it. But we get all the numbers of how many people are calling and requesting rent assistance and utility assistance and what are the needs. And we got this many calls regarding transportation needs this quarter.
Yeah.
So we kind of pull into account like all of those different data points to figure out where the need is. And that's kind of one of the pieces that we use to base our funding on.
One of the things I noticed when I was looking at your website was the origin story of Batavia United Way, which it started as the community chest. Is that right?
Yes, prior to this, we were a Batavia Community Chest, yes.
This is what's fascinating to me about the community chest is it started in the 1930s, which is, of course, the Great Depression. And I don't know if this is the case for a lot of charities. I assume it probably is, but it's also like remarkable to think about that in a moment of scarcity, people are giving, like that's their impulse. And Batavia in particular, being a place that specifically started this community chest. And I've got another interview with Kate Garrett, who I've had on the show a couple times, who runs the Depot Museum. She just talks about history for us. And I'm talking to her tomorrow about, like, for lack of a better way of saying it, like which side of history Batavia has been on in different instances. I'm probably going to bring this up because I think it's such an interesting example of Batavia stepping up when you're looking around and saying people are struggling. Have you seen that happen in the short time that you've been here? Like in a moment of dire need, people are like, there's a natural human tendency sort of batten down the hatches and keep your own stuff. Have you seen people react in the opposite way?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, for sure. I was on the board when the whole pandemic hit and COVID, and I wasn't involved in the creating of any of these programs, but carrying them out, where we were doing food collection for the small businesses, because they were closed. And so you have wait staff and hostesses and cooks that were not getting paid because it was closed.
Right.
And so we were delivering food for staff, which I thought was really just cool. And there were so many people who were willing to help, and so many people in Batavia. It just amazes me. It always amazes me. And I feel so grateful and thankful to be a part of this community because there's so many people that just want to help.
So when you started in the role, so clearly you thought you weren't going to be doing it very long. So how long was that interim period where...
It was 6 months, and not even 6 months. I started in September.
Okay.
Went through our busiest time, fall through Christmas. Is our real busy time of the things that we do. And then I survived that.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can carry this out. And then I accepted the position as a permanent position in January.
And when you decided, I think I can do that, did that perspective ever change?
No.
You still think you can do it?
Yes, I really love what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I have a hard time turning it off. Because I feel like...
Yeah, you were saying before we recorded that you have a hard time turning it off. You have to force yourself out of town to take a vacation because otherwise you're doing stuff.
Yes. I don't know. I just like it. I also enjoy the fact that I'm learning things. I'm not a nonprofit. I didn't study nonprofit management in school or anything like that. So this is a new career for me. And I am loving learning all the different things and just different parts of my brain that really weren't activated when I was doing my speech language pathology and, teaching at the university, and I loved that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was a midlife crisis. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like midlife clarity, maybe.
Maybe.
Little bit.
Yeah. Just, I'd like a new challenge.
Was there ever a hard moment, though, where you started to question things?
I think in this position, I have support that I think some of our previous executive directors didn't have in this position. I have an assistant executive director, Leslie, who is phenomenal and wonderful, and she's a very good friend.
Yeah.
But I think if it was just on me and I didn't have that, and I have a wonderful board as well, if I didn't have those supports, then it would be harder I would question it.
So I'm thinking about if it's me and I live here and I have your role and I can't turn it off. Like, it would be hard for me to just go anywhere, do anything without sort of doing work, whether it's thought work or not, just thinking about work. And I'm wondering if you have experienced like a burnout or a feeling of just like overwhelm or anything like that.
I think there are moments in time, but the payoff is just so wonderful. Like we just had our Adopt a Family program that goes every December.
Yeah.
We start planning for that in September, and Adopt a Family, for those of you listeners who don't know, we partner with the Batavia Public Schools who identify kids whose families could use a little bit of, Christmas cheer for whatever reason. We served almost 400 kids this year.
Wow. In Batavia.
In Batavia. They're all in Batavia. They're all through Batavia Public Schools. It's a very big undertaking.
Yeah.
Because then we match those, we get wish lists from all of those kids, and then I have a bunch of people who are sponsors who are willing to shop for kids. And so I match up those sponsors with the wish lists, and then we bring in all the presents, we make sure that they're the right sizes and do all of those things. Then the families come and pick up those gifts, and it takes a lot of time. And it's a lot of effort, and I think like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And then Wednesday when they come to pick up those gifts hits, and oh my gosh, it was all worth it. It is I sometimes feel a little guilty because my soul gets filled. I get so much out of it, but it also is, like I was saying to you before we started recording, then I have to hurry up and have Christmas for my own family.
And that's why you feel guilty, because then you do your own thing.
Yeah. Well, not that I feel guilty about doing my own thing. I feel like sometimes I get as much as I give. Does that make sense? Like I receive so much.
That's a crazy
joy.
thing to feel guilt about.
I know. I mean, I guess I don't feel a huge.
Like there's a selfish motivation to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I think that's a better way of saying it.
I'm just trying to explore that. I used to struggle with like motivations and stuff, but anything that incentivizes someone to do a good thing, I'm there for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think though that there is that time. That's why we go away for New Year's with my family, and that is something that I have to do. I have to step away. I have to replenish.
Okay.
I have to kind of.
How do you know that? How do you know you have to do it?
Oh, because maybe I'm not the nicest person at home.
Okay.
Maybe you should ask my husband.
So you do get a little overwhelmed if you're not taking that time, and then it sort of comes out.
Yes, and I think I was tired. This year I was tired after all of that, and I just needed. I know that I'm always on the go.
Yeah.
But I also know how to take it down a notch. I'm a puzzle nerd. I'm a book nerd.
Okay,
I love to read. Every Sunday or at least once a week, I am listening to an audiobook, puzzling, having my tea, and I have to take that time because I think I've learned this about myself, that I need time for me.
Yeah.
And I don't get that as much when we're in the throes of Adopt a Family or any of our events.
Yeah. Whenever I talk to a nonprofit, and I think this is, sorry, I'm sort of mercilessly going down this road of burnout and like doing too much. And one of the reasons is for every nonprofit, I think it can be easy to have like the ending of Schindler's List.
Yes.
I could have done more, that kind of thing. You're front and center seeing all of the needs, and you know that you're helping, great, but you know that you're not fixing or solving everything, or that there's always more to do. And these other nonprofits do really specific things though, and so that they're really focused. But with this, it does feel like there's a broader scope and a lot harder to turn that faucet off. It's more of a fire hose than a faucet in some ways, right?
I think you could say that, yes. But I feel like I have a great group of people who are willing to help
Yeah.
behind me. I mean, I have my board of directors is wonderful. My friends, they're always like, "Ugh, okay, what event now, Kath?" But they always buy tickets,
Yeah.
and they come to our events. They're fun.
And I think that one of the things that is occurring to me is you have this community of people that's supporting you.
Yes.
And you're supporting them, and you're supporting each other. And you extrapolate that into Batavia too. There's this, and what United Way, the partners that United Way works with, because you have both the most insurmountable goal, I guess, or need, but also the largest wealth of partners and collaborators, which the sort of story I'm feeling as I'm talking to, over the last few months, I've talked to a lot of nonprofits and people from nonprofits. And there does feel like there's a clear community of people, and it's not stepping on each other's toes. It's not territorial. It's sort of an aligned goal. And that makes all the difference, right? And the burnout piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would absolutely agree there. I think if I was feeling like I was fighting an uphill battle or in competition, I don't like that. I mean, I like competition when it comes to trivia night.
Right, right.
But competing for, who's going to fundraise the most to meet their needs, like that feels weird.
Yeah,
that
totally.
I want to lift up all the people, all the agencies, because we find value in all of the agencies that we work with, and they're all wonderful. And I know the people that are working in those agencies, and they're all really great people. It's just I love my people.
Yeah. I mean, it, even if you're not in competition, just like being alone, doing work alone can be really hard. I think I don't remember exactly, but it feels like the case for Schindler's List. That guy was doing stuff on his own. And so he felt like if he stopped for 2 seconds, he wasn't doing the things that needed to be done.
Right.
Whereas you can take a break, and you also get the other benefits of community. What has being in this role taught you about yourself?
Oh, that I can't turn it off.
You're making it a theme now.
I think I already knew that about myself, though.
Is your family okay with that?
I think my kids are, because, they're older. They're both...
They got their own things going on.
They've got their own things. And when they were younger and they were with me all the time, because I've always worked part-time, or I've worked full-time, but kind of in part-time roles so I could be there.
Yeah.
So they were always with me.
Yeah.
Like even when I had a work meeting or whatever, they would come with me. Or if we were doing some sort of like the leaf raking event that we have here for United Way, they came with me and they're raking leaves and they're doing all those things. My husband sometimes will tell me that, I need a little bit more work-life balance.
Mm-hmm. Can we go on a date sometime or something like that?
Well, and we do.
Yeah.
But sometimes because the way this organization operates, we have fundraisers that are on weekends and they're in the evening, and my board members all have full-time jobs, or, maybe not all, but majority. And so if we're doing a board meeting, we're doing it in the evening, or a committee meeting, or so we're
There's a lot of like, this is just for a season. It's not going to be the whole thing. And then one season bleeds into the next, and it's all, that makes sense.
This is something that I'm learning how to do.
Totally.
Is balance.
So you're learning that about yourself, is that you can improve on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes. And I'm learning that I might be a little obsessive compulsive.
Really?
In that when I get an idea in my head of something that I would really like to happen, that's kind of like the whole way that Dolly Parton Imagination Library, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
So that started in here in
Yeah.
Batavia. That was one of the things that I had in my head before I even came on board as the juror. That wouldn't be cool if we had it. So I was like a dog with a bone with that idea.
So is that something she was doing, and you wanted to bring that here to Batavia? Is
Yes,
that the idea?
yes.
Okay.
Dolly Parton Imagination Library is, a free book gifting program,
Yeah.
but every area has to have a local affiliate that actually runs the program
Got it. Okay.
and funds it. So it's partially funded through Dollywood Foundation, and then here in the state, in Illinois, it's partially funded by the state of Illinois, and then the local affiliate.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my goals that I wanted us to get it here.
Why was that so important to you?
I think literacy is hugely important. Understanding language and the power of language, and reading and seeing our kids get away from that love of books because of technology and electronics, and then knowing that we can start building this love of books so early on when they're so little, when they get excited when they receive that book that's addressed to them in their mailbox, and then they sit down and read with their parents. And so you're building this connection of joy and excitement, and you're pairing that with books.
That's good. Yeah.
And how, like, that foundational structure of building that link between joy, love, caring, and books.
Yeah.
It's hard to erase that as foundational when they're so little.
Yeah.
And then you move on into, like, older adulthood, hopefully, or, you know, older childhood, they hold on to that. And so that, to me, books are a big part of my life and always have been. So
in what way?
I was, maybe I've always been a little obsessive compulsive. I was always obsessed with reading every book at the Aurora Public Library.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to read all of them. I never did, obviously.
A lot in there.
There's a lot in there. And I love reading. To this day, I love reading. But I remember some of my fondest memories, because I grew up in an area of Aurora that was township. So I could not get a library card until I went to school, or we had to pay whatever. Once I was in school, I could have a library card, and I would ride my bike to my elementary school over the summer, because we had the bookmobile that would come to our school, and I would ride my bike and I'd go check out 6 books. And then I'd read the first one in the shade while I'm at the school. And it was just always something that held such joy for me. It was just super important. And English wasn't my first language, right? So
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I'm first generation here in the U.S.
Okay.
And my first language was Polish.
Okay.
And so Sesame Street taught me how to speak English.
Wow.
And when I went to school
Okay.
is when I got to learn English. And so that power of books and really, like, that visual, like, learning how to read was so super important to me.
So that program is designed to really address and combat really big macro trends.
Yes.
And it's interesting, the impulse to solve for that locally. That's interesting to me.
Well, and she started it a long time. It's been like 25 years.
Okay.
30. I have a sticker on my water bottle right there. We're just celebrating 30 years of Imagination Library.
Yeah.
But it started in Tennessee and it has been there for a very long time. And then she just scaled it up everywhere. I love Dolly.
Yeah.
I love Miss Dolly.
I just like the idea of, like, I thought about this a lot as well, like the idea of, like, you have these big global or national trends that are happening, and, like, there's just no way to solve for that, but it's like, can we make our community a little bit better?
Yes.
And the question is not it's not an automatic yes to that answer, but there's a, if we can, then we can do some other things, you know, which I think is kind of a cool.
Well, I think you touched on a really important point there. There are some things that are just so enormous that we can't change, like nationwide or whatever. And that can feel very overwhelming in so many different ways. And I think I can sometimes get bogged down in that.
Yeah.
And so if I can change something in my little corner of the world, that's what I'm going to do. That's really what I'm doing here, and what this all stems from is that idea.
That's awesome. What about Batavia United Way is something that, like, could only work in Batavia?
It's an interesting question, because I've explored this idea a lot when I attend conferences for United Way. I went to the global conference last June. Who cares? But there are so many of these United Ways that serve multiple counties, and, you know, none of the things that they talk about apply to me.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I can run a workplace campaign. I don't have these huge businesses or, headquarters here in Batavia, because that's where I'm stuck. But some of the things that we do, like our soup event, which is a soup tasting where it usually happens in March, where we invite all the local restaurants to bring samples of their soup. People buy tickets and they come in and they get to try a little 3-ounce sample of each of the soups.
Okay.
We have such a small enough community that we can do small scale things like that. Whereas if you have another United Way who has 6 counties, that's hard to replicate.
Yes.
In that. So, and I also feel like there are so many of our people who are donors, like our Adopt a Family. They know that they're helping. It could be their neighbor, or it could be somebody on the other side of town, but they're buying gifts for somebody who lives right here. Yeah. So it's this immediacy that I don't think is always there for a larger community.
Yeah, that's good. How common is it for there to be like a one town version of a United Way? Is that relatively common?
It's hard. It used to be a lot more common, but a lot of because we had Batavia United Way. There was a United Way in St. Charles, South Elgin area, and another one. But then it's hard for them to stay afloat, and so they get absorbed into a larger United Way.
How come that hasn't happened here?
because we're awesome. No, really, I think it's the community that we're in, that we serve, and the people who are on our board of directors and the volunteers that we have, and everybody is so invested. We have done a few things that are valuable that people don't want to see go away. And so they contribute to it. Yeah. Right. I think, years down the road, who knows if, we're going to be absorbed by a larger United Way. I think I don't want to see that happen. I think there is value to what we do and to the people that we serve and the people who are our donors and who are invested in what we do. So I don't know. We'll see.
So sort of in the same vein of everything else we've been talking about. Okay. You are solving for all of these problems. You're surrounded by insurmountable problems, and you can solve specific cases. What would be really great is if the existence of Batavia United Way and the existence of all of these partners created an atmosphere where people feel like they can move here and live here, that they're not in that Alice category. But the word that keeps popping into my brain, and again, I don't know, do I even want to say this on air? I don't know. The word that keeps popping in my brain is unsustainable. Mm-hmm. This idea that there are not actual systems in place to help people, that when they do get what they need, it's through these sort of extra things, that stopgaps. Do you ever feel like frustration around that, or fear for people that are here, or frustration that you can't create the atmosphere where they don't have to rely on that stuff? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it does. And I think I see where you're going with that. I think we are trying to do two things at once. Mm-hmm. Like with our community assistance fund, rent and utility assistance, emergency assistance, we're there to put the Band-Aid on, right? Yeah, yeah. But we are also working to work with some of the other agencies that also provide, and they may not be agencies that we fund, but there are also other agencies that also provide rent and utility assistance and all of these other things. So we communicate together, and I think that's the first step in actually coming together to see how can we make things more sustainable. Right. Some of the things are beyond our control, like affordable housing. Well, I can't do anything about that, but I can support those who are looking to provide more affordable housing. Yeah. Keeping our small businesses open. So we have people who have a small business are hiring people to work there, right? Yeah. And if we lose those small businesses, then we lose the employees that were a part of that. And if they're not employed, then they can't afford. There's these larger kind of cyclical issues that happen. So I feel like there's a lot of different ways in which we can support foundational pieces, because one agency, one person, one business is not going to solve all of this. Yeah. Right? So it's got to be a coming together. An ecosystem. Yeah. That makes sense. So, and you have hope that you feel like Batavia United Way is sort of creating conditions where that can happen? I hope so. That's what we're working towards. Yeah. I think that's what we do in some cases. Well, I think we can always do better. I think I underplayed too, the degree to which you can count on a lot of these things, actually. So even the food closet, it's always there. It's never not been there for people who needed it. Right. And you actually can just rely on it if you need to. And I think I like that that's fine. I actually kind of love that. And it doesn't have to be for example, the food pantry and clothes closet. You don't have to go every month. Yeah. You don't have, if you don't need it. Yeah. Then don't go to it and leave it for someone else. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But if you lose your job. Yeah. Or you are struggling this month because you had a car accident that is not covered by insurance, now you have to pay for that, and you take your grocery money and put it towards the car repairs. Yeah. Well, now you can go to the food pantry. It's wonderful over there. Yeah. Or the clothes closet and get what you need. It's there for you. Yeah. What keeps you up at night? You mean from 2 to 4:30 every night? Is that how long you sleep? No, that's when I wake up. Oh, that's when you wake up. Got it. Yes. What keeps you up what wakes you up at 2 a.m.? Depends on the time. I don't know. Sometimes it's personal as far as my kids, making sure my kids are safe and they are making good choices, which they always do. They're wonderful children. They're not children anymore. I keep calling them children. Joey's 21. They're your children. 19. They're always going to be my kids, my children. And they do make good choices. But I just hope that they're happy in their lives. Yeah. and not so far away from me.
Yeah, I hear you.
I love my family, all of my family, not just my kids, but also all my extended family. And I making sure everybody's healthy. And there are lots of things that keep me up at night right now that are way, way beyond my control. And I think that's...
You think about those a lot? Things beyond your control?
Sometimes, yes. Because I also know how some things are affecting the people that I serve. And that keeps me up at night. That I wasn't going to get emotional. I don't know why I'm crying.
You're allowed to if you want. You don't have to, but...
No, right now, it's a very scary time.
Yeah.
For a lot of people that we serve.
Yeah.
And I feel it like, whew, okay. This is supposed to be fun, not...
I'm sorry.
That's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah, I hear you.
So things that are out of my control that are affecting my family and my kids, the people that we serve, and I can solve the world's problems from between 2 and 4:30 in the morning.
Right? You got all the best ideas.
That's
totally.
when I have the best ideas.
Yeah.
And then I fall back asleep around 4:30 and they're all gone when I hit 6.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. But some of the ideas that we've carried out with United Way have come to me at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, I just need to sleep more though.
To you, what does it mean to belong in Batavia?
Being in a space that you are who you are and you feel comfortable with being who you are around the people that you're around. So sometimes we have to play a part, right? And other times I have a few different groups of friends where they know me and I can just be me.
It's hard because you're right. Like, if the definition of belonging is being able to be yourself and be comfortable, there's the question of, is being in this role helping me with that feeling of belonging, which I relate to as well.
Yeah.
It's a tension.
Well, and I truly feel like I belong in the role that I'm in right now.
Yes. It's a different version of more specifically embracing who you are.
Yeah.
Because it's using all of your gifts in really specific ways, and people are affirming of that. Yeah.
Yes.
The other stuff is a little superficial, actually, right? Like, can I let go of my filter?
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like I know you've asked that question, like, what does it mean to belong?
Yeah.
I've listened to you enough to know that question was coming. But I really think that belonging is just being around people who accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid to be that.
Thanks for listening to Area Code Batavia. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. If you enjoy this podcast, why not subscribe to our newsletter? Just click the link in the show notes and put in your email address. Not only will we let you know whenever there's a new episode of Area Code Batavia available, but each issue also brings you 5 concrete ways to experience a deeper sense of belonging in the community of Batavia, Illinois. Most importantly, if you know someone who would love to hear this podcast, please share it with them. Word of mouth is the best way to grow this community and help more people feel like they belong in Batavia, Illinois. Area Code Batavia is produced by Area Code Audio. It's hosted and produced by me, Richard Clark, with additional production help from Jennifer Clark.